Welcome to the Terrible Podcast with your hosts from SteelersDepot.com, where you can find all your latest and greatest Steelers news. It's Dave Bryan and Alex Kozora, always lit, talking Steelers. And now, here's Dave and Alex.
Welcome to the Terrible Podcast, another special edition of the Terrible Podcast, Pittsburgh Steelers Training Camp 2026. I am Dave Bryan from SteelersDepot.com, and with me, as usual, is the one, the only Alex Kozora, fresh off trip number 7 to Saint Vincent College in Latrobe to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers go through their training camp practice. It is August the 6th. It is 5:25 Eastern Time in the PM. With that, Alex, happy Wednesday. We're about halfway through camp now, or happy Thursday, I should say.
Yeah, and I should also just off the top, and happy Thursday, Dave. I think I might have said once or twice the team was off yesterday. That was not true. They were practicing. It was a closed door session to the media and of course the fans. So teams in this long stretch. It was a hot, long practice on Thursday. Got a little chippy. I think the dog days of summer are here, but happy to be back with you, Dave.
Yeah, excited to wrap up what you observed. It sounded like it was A, long, sounds like B, it was indeed chippy, and I guess C, sounds like there was a lot of team portion of the practice, which we'll start recapping here in a little bit. But unfortunately, at the top of the show, like we always do, we do the housekeeping portion. But before we get to that, the special edition of the Terrible Podcast is brought to everyone by Touring Plans, touringplans.com. That's Lynn Testa and his fine folks over there. Alex, I don't know when the next trip you might make to Disneyland, Disney World, or maybe even a Disney cruise, but I have a feeling before you go on such a trip, you're going to be going to touringplans.com. Tell the people why.
I'll go. You going with me, Dave? We're going to ride the teacups?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, heck, we'll ride Magic Mountain, go to the Small World, and all like that.
I'm there, and we'll use touring plans along the way, and that's because they use math and science to help families save time and money at theme parks, like you said, Dave, at Walt Disney World and Disneyland. You'll find a crowd calendar showing the best days to visit each park, step-by-step plans to avoid spending your whole day waiting in lines, views from every hotel room, big discounts on theme park tickets. That's always key. So, if you're planning a trip to Disney later this year or maybe sometime in 2027, this is the team you want to work with. Be sure to download their app. Reach out to Touring Plans. Links are in the description, top of the page on today's diary, and tell them Steelers Depot sent you. And we continue to thank the site and Lynn Testa for the support of our training camp coverage.
Yeah, you'll have to go on there and make sure you're tall enough to ride some of those rides over there.
Ouch. Very rude for a guy who sat in the heat all day.
I hear ya. Just kidding there. Thanks, Lynn Testa. Thanks to the folks at Touring Plans. All right, Alex, as we do the housekeeping portion of the nightly special edition of the Terrible Podcast, unfortunately, it might be a little long today. We have a transaction to talk about. I think we had a vet that had a day off. We had one draft pick not even suit up in pads. We had another draft pick go down injured about a quarter way through practice, and I think some other bumps and bruises associated with training camp this time of year. So where would you like to start?
Let's start with the transaction. Pittsburgh signing their second safety at training camp in veteran Israel Mukamu, and he played for Mike McCarthy in Dallas, was drafted by him in 2021, spent last year in Carolina, but the bulk of his NFL experience comes with Dallas, and so he was on the practice field today wearing number 30, and that took the spot of cornerback Amari Harvey, who just got caught up in the numbers crunch, was hardly seeing reps in practice, and so he is the unfortunate corresponding move to Mukamu being signed. Mukamu working in practice in full, basically out of the gate. From the injury standpoint, you're right. It's going to be a longer conversation today. Unfortunately, pup guys still the same. Kent, Porter, and Ramsey not practicing to begin the day. Rookie Eli Heidenreich, as you implied, don't know the injury there. Maybe upper body. Don't see any issue with him walking around. Stephen Jones, we mentioned Stephen Jones on the Tuesday show. Wondered if there might have been an injury there because Dunker was getting second-team reps late in practice, and Jones did not practice today. Logan Lee continues to miss with an unknown injury. 2 injuries during practice, and they're both definitely notable. Cornerback Brandon Eccles suffered a left ankle injury in a 7-on-7 drill. Seems like, and I'm going to guess here a little bit, so forgive me, but I think he's going to be okay. Kind of reminds me of Darius Slay last year with his ankle injury in training camp. He was able to, Eccles was, walk around a little bit and stand after practice. And so hopefully it's just something minor ankle sprain. There still could miss some time, of course, but the big headline news here, Dave, is rookie first-round pick Maxi Honachor bowed out of practice pretty early after the first team contact period session. It's unclear exactly what the injury is. Appeared to be neck or shoulder. It looked like the right side, but it was hard to tell for sure if it was right or left side they were working on, or if Honachor was kind of pointing at, because he was kind of pointing at both of his arms and shoulders. And so he stood around for a little bit, was examined by trainers, and then eventually walked off to the facility. So he did not make it very far in practice today. Don't know how severe it is. Don't know the exact nature. Mike McCarthy won't speak until Friday morning, hopefully with an update there, but that is certainly one to watch.
All right, Cam Hayward, vet day off, right?
Yeah, should know Kim Hayward got the day off, and Deshaun Elliott continues to be limited. Did work maybe a little bit more in the team sessions today, but still not getting full reps for Deshaun Elliott.
All right, I did see a clip that surfaced on Twitter of him popping DK Metcalf on the sideline once. So, and then he tried, he kind of, it was an excuse me after it all, but it does seem like that at least he's getting closer and closer to full participation. We'll keep our fingers crossed about Ionichor and obviously Brandon Eccles, and, with Mike McCarthy speaking before practices and not after practices, there's no update on him today. So hopefully Mike McCarthy will address both those guys. It probably won't be shocking if either one of those guys miss the Friday practice. And then if indeed that's the case, we'll keep our fingers crossed that this team can get a little healthier, and especially guys like Eli Heidenreich and Logan Lee start getting those guys back on the field, and particularly for Saturday night, because we got a 1 week from today, the Steelers play the Green Bay Packers in their preseason opener. So obviously want as many of those young guys on hand as possible. Good updates there, Alex. And once again, we'll keep our fingers crossed, and you and I will talk a little bit more about the new safety on the Friday morning edition of the podcast. That'll give us something to talk about there. All right, layout practice today. A lot of team sessions, right?
Yeah, by my count, I believe 57 snaps in total,
Wow.
and that even excludes the walkthrough team period, which is pretty light. There's no contact, and so putting that aside, and there would have been upwards of 60 plus had the 2-minute drill been more than just a couple of plays. It was a really short period where the offense just simply was unable to move the football, in part because of penalties. So a typical Tomlin practice would be about 48 snaps a team. This one getting close to 60 and above if you want to include the walkthrough portion of it. So a long day today, the longest by far. I think they're past that ramp-up period, even in the padded practices where they can go longer during practice, and Mike McCarthy making good use of that time.
All right, and what was it, 2.5 hours today, right, or thereabouts?
Started at 11 and went to past at least 1:15, so yeah, thereabouts.
All right, let's start with the quarterback position like we normally do. What stuck out to you today with that group?
I would say quarterback, and just more broadly, the offense as a whole continues to show some sloppiness, whether that's high snaps, whether that's miscommunication. There was one play, it was a play action. Rudolph wanted, I think, to throw to Pittman. None of the receivers turned around for the ball. They thought it was a run. It was a pass. Still miscommunication on routes. There was one moment where Rodgers and the offense had to huddle 3 times because there was confusion pre-snap. They huddled for a second time. They get back to the line. Dylan Cook false starts. They have to huddle again. Just that kind of day where the offense really was not on their details. As it's quarterback play, maybe there wasn't anyone egregiously bad. Rodgers trying to throw off platform. Not all of his throws got to its intended target. Rudolph a couple of deep balls that were tipped away and fell incomplete. So I don't think any quarterback particularly had a great day today. Aller, his first 2-minute drill, that went nowhere, in part because of one penalty that negated a third down completion. So we didn't get to really see that one through. So just not buttoned up today for the offense.
All right, and I think early in practice there was a note you had Aaron Rodgers hitting Roman Wilson on a deep ball, but that got called back from some sort of flag. Was I'm best I can garner is either someone held T.J. Watt or it was an illegal shift.
Yeah, I think Dylan Cook might have been holding Watt. Tim Rice, our photographer, who got a great photo of that. I appears to be the call. That was legitimately one of the better plays of the day. That was a nice ball from Rodgers to Roman over Brandon Eccles before his injury. After that, it kind of got pretty sloppy, but that was one highlight.
All right. Anything else from any other solid throws by one of the young kids that stuck out? Or I mean, I hate to kind of end it there, but it does sound like it was a sloppy day for the group.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at my Howard and Adler notes, a 2-minute drill. The offense ended up actually losing yards. They ended up, incompletion on 4th and 13. Adler had 2 attempts on 3rd and 4th down to Caden Weegan. One was a bit high and one might have been a little off target. It was tough to tell if Weegan could have made the catch. It's obviously a smaller target to look at. So I'm just kind of going through my notes and yeah, just not the offense's best day.
All right, not a lot of running backs right now, especially with Eli Heidenreich not in pads. Give us a rundown on them, along with what Riley Nowakowski was doing today.
A lot of fullback work. I need to probably tally the number of times I noted him at fullback, and I'm probably shortchanged him a couple too because they were running a ton of the old school football today in this team period. Jalen Warren, I thought Travis Homer, really good pass pro. From what I was able to see, the defense throwing a lot of blitzes at them. Warren had maybe the play of the day, picking up Nick Herbig on the rush up the middle and burying him, and it was a really good rep that allowed Rodgers to throw complete to, I think it was Brandon Smith, the backup wide receiver, and Homer had a couple of good pickups later on in practice. So, I mean, Heidenreich's out, but you still have enough running backs, Warren and Dowdle and Nichols and Caleb Johnson too. So those guys get an extra burn.
All right, I guess we'll go to the wide receiver position next. And I did note early in practice you talking about Caden Weegan pulling one off the shoe tops there.
Yeah, that was a nice play. The pocket collapsed on Will Howard. The ball was a little short. Legion made the grab, and so that was good. But those final 2 plays at 2 minute, one was high, and Legion just couldn't make the play from Aller. And then one, it was hard to tell if Legion could have made the play or if Aller was too far to the left on his throw. But when you have a smaller receiver trying to make those grabs outside of his smaller catch radius is a problem. Ball's away from him, ball's high in the air, makes him that smaller target, and he's very fit, every much of the 5'9" that he weighed in at. So that was a sour end for the offense and for the 2-minute drill with Legion unable to convert on 3rd and 4th down.
All right, tell me about the day Jeremy Bernard and Roman Wilson had, and is Michael Pittman come alive yet?
Pittman had a couple plays. They ran a couple of good pick routes that got him open. There was that one miscommunication on the Rudolph play action that was supposed to be for Pittman, another bootleg that was intended for Pittman, but it was covered and taken away, and Rudolph had to eat the football. Bernard had a really nice catch. It was a out route to the right side, working on Darryl Porter, made a nice hands catch, and Porter fell off of him, and Bernard was quick to the tuck and got upfield. So that was a nice moment there for the rookie, Jeremy Bernard.
All right, was that the contested catch?
Yeah, Porter was kind of behind him. It was running to the right. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, if it was posted online somewhere, but it was, I would call that contested, where Bernard made the catch with Porter at his back, and then Porter sort of fell off of him, and Bernard jetted upfield.
And I think Roman Wilson was the one that had the catch on maybe the play that Eccles got injured on. Is that correct? In the drills?
That was during 7-on-7. I was watching the O-line, D-line, so I saw Eccles go down. I didn't see, I think I've seen the clip though, so that sounds probably about right.
All right. Anything else from the wide receiver group? Jacoby Keeney James getting mixed in a little bit with the 2 or 3 snaps there?
Not that I've noted. He may have taken a couple of snaps there, but still getting his feet wet. And Joaquin Davis really trying to fight for reps. He at least got some work in the 2 minute, had one catch on a slant that was negated by a penalty of some sort on the offense, but his reps have been very far and few between.
All right. What stuck out with the tight end group today?
I don't think a lot stuck out with that group. Did see a little bit of Galbraith and Jaheim Bell getting reps and Lake McCree too, but not a lot of activity for the tight ends as far as I could tell. The run blocking, probably not their best stage. Just not really able to create much of a push along with the offensive line.
All right, offensive line. Obviously, they lost Ihanichor early in practice, and Stephen Jones did not practice. Talk about what that did to the rotations, maybe.
Yeah, let's look here at the second team offensive line. When they first came out, this is before Ihanichor's injury. It was Broderick Jones, Brock Hoffman, Ryan McCullum, Jennings Dunker, and Ihanichor. Dunker basically just worked second and 13 today, double dipping reps, which is good for him to get additional work. Really the quote-unquote big winner of Ihanichor going down opened up reps with Jack Driscoll, who was taking them at left tackle, but then Broderick Jones would come in and play right tackle. Broderick basically played right tackle once Ihanichor went down. whenever the backups came in. So Jones was not really working too much on the left side. Driscoll was. He had Broderick on the right side. I thought Dylan Cook had a nice day in terms of the one-on-ones. Really good rep against Nick Herbig, where Herbig tried to give the head fake inside, outside, and Cook got a lot of praise for that. Did have a false start in team period that I referenced. And Fautanu had another one, too. Fautanu's false started a couple times this year, so just need to kind of hold your water and just be a little more steady in that regard. I thought Doug Nestor, the reserve lineman, had a couple of good reps, too, in the O-line, D-line drill.
All right, we haven't talked a lot about the camp Mason McCormick's having.
Yeah, he's just kind of a steady Eddie sort of a guy. Not a whole lot to note there in a super positive way that I can tell, but not in any sort of negative way too. So just kind of a guy that seems to go with the flow. He's been working left guard most of the time. Occasionally they'll rotate in Hoffman just to give different combinations. No alarm there. McCormick's going to start, but it's been a solid, steady camp for Mason McCormick.
All right, any of those bad snaps the fault of Zach Frazier today or no?
No, I only saw one that was high. I think it was Crippen because it was Aller that was in. It probably made sense for Crippen to be there. I think, Frazier's gotten over his yips. And just to go back to McCormick, and I'm going to knock on wood here, dude's just durable, available. He doesn't miss time, doesn't miss games, doesn't miss practice, just there working every day. And that's what you want in your offensive lineman.
All right, so just really a non-eventful day overall for the offense and just sloppy, huh?
Yeah, I would say it was sloppy, not just for the offensive line, just across the board. I mean, there certainly were some good moments. Like I said, in the O-line, D-line, there were some guys shining. I still want to see Broderick Jones get his strength up. I feel like he's struggling with power a good bit. But yeah, I didn't feel like the offense had their tightest day today.
All right, we'll shift over to the defensive line, and I'm going to save the talk about the initial depth chart, which apparently was made by Burt Lawton for our talk on the Friday podcast. But I mean, when you start there, one of the most notable things that stuck out on that depth chart for what it is, and we always like to caution about blah 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 preseason depth charts and all, but Y.A. Black was listed as a starting nose tackle. Is that tracking mostly still through 7 training camp practices?
It's been hard to get a fluid read on because when they opened camp, Benton was playing end, and then earlier this week he was playing nose tackle. I just checked my notes, and I made the comment to Tim in practice if he had seen Benton because I wasn't noting him in my notes, and he was out there. He was dressed, but I just looked at my notes. I don't have him written once today, so I want to check him on Friday to see if he's practicing. If he got dinged, my notes would suggest he wasn't working in team at all today. So Black was getting first team nose tackle reps, but there has been just a lot of mixing and matching. I mean, he's also played defensive end. Black has. Let me just check my notes, see if I can find it. It opened up Harmon, Black, Joseph Day. I'm trying to see if I have him at end at any point in my notes too. I think it mostly was nose tackle today, but I think Tuesday he was working some defensive end. Black was with Benton at nose tackle. So the depth chart, I mean, I really take that with many grains of salt. We'll talk about that more in the main show, but I'm still trying to figure out exactly what their plan is at nose tackle.
All right. Otomewo trend still on the right track to make this roster?
I mean, he certainly had some good practices. I haven't really digested, where he's at in relation to making the 53 when, Logan Lee is missing time and starting to lose ground in the battle. Then that obviously helps others like Otomewa, but still battling, Rubio, and Lowry's getting some quality burn and played well against the run. So we'll keep watching it. But yeah, I think Otomewa has been doing just fine.
All right. Let's go to the inside linebackers. Peyton Wilson, a little bit more physical.
He has. Let me just go back to D-line for a second. Right. I think Black had a good day today against the run. And then Derek Harmon's been a tough guy to block. He's really wrecking these run periods. He did that Tuesday. He did it today. There was one he got in the backfield. I'm not sure exactly who he beat, but picked up Rico Dowdle, lifted him off his feet, then put him down in the non-tackling session, which they all are, obviously. So I think Harmon's really looking good here in year 2.
All right. And remember, he got off to that slow start last year because of the injury and all like that. So for him to hit the ground running out of the chute this year will be primo. The team really needs it, especially with him being a first-round draft pick there. All right. Inside linebacker, and I think the talking point might be Peyton Wilson today, correct?
Yeah, I thought a good day for him. He's making plays against the run and sort of involved in these, they call them fights. Some of the media does. There's some skirmishes. There's some pushing and shoving. No one's throwing punches. Like, it's not I've seen crazier stuff happen on the field by far than what's happened in camp so far. But it did get chippy today, and Wilson and Skoranek sort of mixed it up at one point. At the end of one play, Skoranek was on the ground. Wilson was kind of pulling his jersey. Not entirely sure what all started what there, but just watching Wilson be aggressive. I think even Nowakowski talked about post-practice with Mike Pursuta that Peyton Wilson put him on the ground on one play. There was one good run stop that Wilson had, kind of walked back, a little swagger in his step as he was exiting the play, which is good. I kind of want to see Peyton Wilson play just frankly more pissed off this year, play angrier, play meaner. I think he's athletic, he's talented, but just want to see him kind of be just an angrier, meaner player to really get downhill and play the run. I've seen that consistently this week of practice when the pads came on, so need to see that going forward in game action, obviously, but arrow pointing up for Peyton Wilson.
All right, good. Can't wait to watch him log a little bit of time, maybe during the preseason here as well. All right, anything else stick out with the inside linebacker lines?
Yeah, I thought Jacoby Windman had a couple of nice run stops today. At least twice in my notes, I noted him coming down and popping guys against the run. So snaps have been difficult to come by as a number 6 inside linebacker, getting some time with Malik Harrison. But I thought Windman also played on the edge at least once today, too. I'm not sure if that was a pressure package type of thing or just kind of filling in the pieces at edge where they're a little bit thinner and lighter. But Windman, in my notes, quite a bit today.
All right. Can't wait to watch Carson Bruner get a lot of burn during the preseason as well, too. That should be fun to watch there. All right. Malik Harrison still running basically, behind Bruner and Cole Holcomb.
Yeah, I would say no change to his place
All
in
right.
the depth chart, which is behind those guys.
All right. Anything on the outside linebackers?
Just lower down the depth chart, Jamin Davis and Julius Welshoff, just not seeing much bend around the corner for those guys, and so it's just been tough for them. Pittsburgh continues to toy with its 3 edge package, but they didn't use it just in their third down period today. They used it on like 2nd and 8, for example. There was one play where they had Herbig and Watt and Highsmith out on the field, Herbig playing off ball, and so that's interesting because we know that Pittsburgh in the past has used a 3 linebacker package in those obvious pass situations, 3rd and long, late in half, late in game. Can you expand that package to 2nd down? And Pittsburgh hinting at that today, which I think is pretty interesting.
All right, we'll go to the defensive backs now, and even though they lengthened their lines a little bit at safety over the course of the last week, the injury to Brandon Eccles and the waiving of the corner earlier this morning leaves them a little bit short, I guess, at the slot position, right?
Yeah, and when you're down Jalen Ramsey and Brandon Eccles and Dante Kent, 3 slot guys, you start getting thinner there. So you had Danico Slaughter and Deshaun Jameson, and a little bit of Devon Boykin, even a little bit of Daryl Porter getting some slot work today. So we'll see if the injuries are enough for them to necessitate a move to bring in another slot capable guy or what. But obviously, you're down really your top 2 slot guys for sure, in Ramsey and Eccles, and Kent was probably going to be your 3rd stringer if he was healthy. So Jameson can play there, and he's played well, so more snaps for those guys. But it is getting pretty thin at slot corner.
All right, looks like they brought in some guys for some tryouts that we're going to be talking about that just hit. Andre Carter, linebacker, obviously Israel Mukwamu, Xavier Thomas, a linebacker, and Donovan Wilson, the defensive back out of Texas A&M.
Wilson was in Dallas, was he not, with McCarthy? That name
Oh,
rings a bell.
I'll have to look. I haven't researched them.
Now, that was obviously, they brought those guys in probably the other day because McQuamu was part of that group and signed. Yeah, Donovan Wilson was in Dallas for several seasons, so he's a vet.
All right. So we'll be writing that up here on the site here in just a moment. What else you got at the defensive backs?
Let's see. McQuamu getting work at safety. Boykin sort of flipping and flopping between corner and safety. Porter had a good breakup today on a underneath throw. He's able to drive on and break up, and I think that was the bulk of it today.
All righty. You got anything on special teams for today?
Yeah, they let Laith Marjan kick some field goals, and
All
he did
right,
a good job.
hooray!
He was 5 of 6. He hit one from 52. He missed from 51 and was short the other day, but had a much more solid ball today. It was good. I mean, it wasn't good by a country mile, but it was good by enough. He did miss from, oh God, what was it, 49 or something? Let me check here. He missed from 48. It was long enough, but clanked off the right upright. His kicks have kind of maybe sailed to the right a little bit because I think he's had 2 off the right upright so far. But he was better today, which was good, and Boswell was 2 of 2, just 29-32, a lighter day for Chris Boswell. In kick return with Heidenreich out, it was Caden Weegan, Deshaun Jameson as one pairing, and then Caleb Johnson, Roman Wilson, the other. Keeney James was back there watching. I don't think he fielded a kick, but he was kind of in that grouping.
All right. Any updates on like the wings and the personal protectors? Did they work on any of that today with the punting team or anything?
No, they just did field goals and kickoffs. So I imagine they're going to kind of work a couple days at one unit and then move on. They opened up camp working punt team quite a bit now. It's been field goal team and kickoffs the last couple of days. They'll probably chunk this thing together. If you care about the field goal wings, it was a Derek Harmon at left wing and I think Darnell Washington at right wing.
Okay. Defense obviously won today, I think, because of how sloppy the offense was, right? Any other kind of global, I guess, takeaways coming out of the Thursday practice?
No, that's probably the big one, the defense, I think, winning. Also, should have mentioned TJ Watt had a good swat. The first pass Rodgers threw today was batted down at the line of scrimmage. So a classic TJ Watt swat moment there. But yeah, I would just say the offense, to my eye at least, was pretty sloppy. The defense, I would say, won the day.
All right. I guess that's all we got today, and we'll kind of make this one a little bit shorter too, because a little bit later on this evening we're going to have to record the Friday podcast, and we'll get into some other things to kind of talk about the depth chart and all the roster moves and the visits and some things Mike McCarthy said, and maybe some things that the players have said here. Friday, what's going to happen? Put your weatherman cap on. I think they're calling for rain, right?
They are. I'll check the latest forecast. And so do a rain dance for me, Dave, if we can get this thing to hold off. We've been pretty fortunate so far. A couple of sprinkles today, but that was it. They're showing 40% chance of rain with a little lightning bolt, 11 a.m., 35% at noon. So they start at 11 tomorrow. Could they push up practice to earlier and try to beat that? Will they go indoors to the indoor facility? If they do, no fans allowed. So they'll not let me in. I'll have to Ocean's 11 and come in from the roof or something. But we'll see how tomorrow goes.
All right, we'll play it by ear for sure, and then obviously if it's indoors or it gets canceled, there will be no special edition of the Terrible Podcast on Friday night. Once again, Alex and I will be recording a little something to go up around midnight for a Friday a.m. normal edition of the Terrible Podcast, and yeah, we're about at the halfway mark of training camp at this point, right? I think there's 8 scheduled practices left. The team will scheduled practice on Friday. Obviously, the Saturday night practice at the local high school. They'll be off Sunday, and then Monday, I think, back at it again there. So, Alex, we have preseason football on the television tonight. Going to try to watch the first half of that. Kenny Pickett versus Carson Beck to get things started in the Hall of Fame game, so I'll be tuning that in. Mike Tomlin makes his debut on what do they call that, football night in America, so it'll be interesting to see if he talks any about Kenny Pickett during that as well. We'll be looking out for that, writing about it. But in the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at Steelers Depot. Follow Alex at Alex_Kozora. Follow the show at Terrible Podcast. Email the show, theterriblepodcast@gmail.com. If you like what we do and want to donate, SteelersDepot.com, hit the donate button. And if you'd like an ad-free version of the site, SteelersDepot.com, hit the ad-free button and follow the directions that way. So until Friday, as always, thanks for listening to the Terrible Podcast, another special edition of the Terrible Podcast, Pittsburgh Steelers Training Camp 2026 with Dave and Alex.